surprise you to know that the person sitting on your left sometimes feels anxious, and the person sitting on your right sometimes feels under pressure? And now are you thinking, gee, I'm glad I didn't sit in either of those two seats? The reality is there are times for all of us when in doing something that's important to us that we can feel anxious or worried. And it's those feelings that can lead us to not necessarily reach our potential. Can I share a secret? Today is actually one of those days for me. You see, standing here on the red dot, I am feeling a little bit nervous. But that's not the secret. The secret is that I've brought with me a strategy that actually helps me to feel okay. And it's one that I would like to share with all of you that you can use the next time something important in your life comes along. You see, I've spent my career working and researching with elite athletes. Working with athletes has given me a great opportunity to see them learn the strategies, and it's there I learnt a technique that helps them to thrive. Sport provides us with an important metaphor for life. It's where we see the hopes, the dreams, and the heroes. Earl Warren once said, "I always turn to the sports pages first. That's where we see life's accomplishments. The front page has nothing but failures. There are lessons for us to learn from elite athletes." There we go. I've seen athletes rise to the top of their game, achieve great successes. They've done this by taking risks, they've failed, and then they've dusted themselves off and started again. There are lessons for us to learn from elite athletes. There are a range of variables that help to contribute to the success of an elite athlete. Elite athletes need physical ability, strategy, tenacity, and persistence. Did you know that if you chose your parents well, then you may have inherited genetics that will set you on your sporting path? If you've been well coached and sufficiently resourced, then you may be well on track. And if you've developed your psychological fortitude, then you will have developed skills and beliefs that will help you to rise and reach your potential. One of the features that distinguishes elite athletes is their ability to thrive through tension. They excel when the heat is turned up. Athletes have an ability to focus despite the distractions that are around them. They have an ability that when things go wrong, they don't just bounce back, they bounce forward. And athletes are able to develop a self-belief that allows them to not only reach their potential, but to at times exceed it. Shun Fujimoto assisted the Japanese gymnastics team to achieve gold in the Olympics in 1976. He scored 9.5 on the pommel horse and 9.7 on the rings, and did so with a broken kneecap. His descent from the rings was perfect. He landed the jump, lifted his arms up in triumph, and then collapsed to the ground in agony. In 2015, Special Olympian Olivia Quigley lined up for the final of the 100-metre race. With a body racked with depression, anxiety, and worry of the previous 6 months, she pushed on and achieved gold. Her adversity? Chemotherapy for stage 4 breast cancer and a decision to suspend treatment until the conclusion of the Games. The human brain is one of the most amazing machines known to humankind, and creativity is its greatest asset. A study that challenged the way that I think about adversity is one that showed that when you place people in a task where they were put under pressure, their success was not predicted so much about their ability to focus on the task, but about their ability to block out the external distractors, the things that were less relevant to the performance. Now, this is a subtle yet important difference in the area of sports psychology. For years, we've told people to focus on the performance, and that's incredibly important. It works best when you can block out the external distractors first. Neuroscience research tells us that the ability to block out external distractions enhances both memory and performance. When life feels out of control, it is normal for us to feel anxious and worried. So we can have strategies that we can learn from elite athletes that can help all of us in terms of our performance. Imagine a bubble. A bubble is a sphere of liquid encased and holding air or another gas. Its thin layer separates the internal activity from the external world. What is it that's so fascinating about bubbles? Is it their shape? Is it the microscopically thin layer? Or is it how the colours swirl and shimmer? Well, for elite athletes, a bubble offers a real and practical, helpful strategy to help them to perform. The visual of a bubble allows an athlete a vehicle, a vessel to travel through performance, a tool to let them block out the factors that are irrelevant and to focus on the task at hand. It's a vessel that allows an athlete to transition through tension before it becomes anxiety. It allows athletes to focus less on fear and focus better towards their performance. The National Grand Final is the pinnacle for any sporting team. So, imagine a National Grand Final, you travel across the country, and then find out at the quarter time breaks that the opposition team turn out the lights in the stadium. They place a full brass orchestra behind your bench, and the crowd rise to their feet. They scream, they yell, and they cheer at every opportunity, with the sole opportunity there is for them to distract you. These were some of the factors faced by a team that I worked with, and it was necessary for that team, in dealing with all of these distractions, to place themselves in a team bubble. All of those extra factors were not going to facilitate their performance. They needed an ability, first of all, to step away from those factors, step into the bubble, and then that gave them the space to focus on the strategies and the tactics that were necessary for their performance. The team were able to do this, and thankfully with a win, and with those factors in mind, many of the players were actually unaware of many of those external distractors that were present. The sport of outrigger canoe racing is tough and exciting. 6 paddlers in a fiberglass canoe, pitting their wits and their strength against other canoes and the elements. The start of a marathon race is bedlam. Anything up to 100 canoes, all vying for that clear passage of water. Canoes crash into each other, there's yelling, there's shouting, and the risk of capsizing, losing minutes, and the possibility of actual danger for the paddlers themselves are all possibilities. Teams that I've worked with who've excelled in these environments have found it beneficial to place themselves within a bubble. Whilst other canoes will still crash into them during the course of the race, the bubble gives them a sense of control. It allows them to change the volume of the environment that they're in. By blocking out the external distractors, it gives them the space to focus on the task at hand and the job that they have within the canoe. A psychological bubble has 2 key elements. I can get the slide up. There it is. The first one is that you have to be mindful. You can't travel through life without paying attention to what you're doing. If you choose to travel through life as a passenger, you will not reach your potential. Life offers us 3 passages of time: the past, the present, and the future. And all 3 are incredibly important. Our past is our memories, it's our history, it's what gives us our roots. The future is where our hopes and our dreams and our aspirations lie. And the present is right now. It's the only place of those 3 where you have any level of control. And most of performance is undertaken in the moment. That's where you can best maximise your success. Performance and a psychological bubble best takes place mindfully in the moment. The second key element is the ability to visualise. We know from the visualisation research that to visualise many aspects of performance is almost as good as practicing the performance itself. So by using visualization, it gives you that space to actually focus on the task at hand and to block out the factors that are not relevant to you. So, back to my secret. I'm actually in a bubble. So, whilst there is a physical distance between you and I, there is also a psychological one. If you had been with me 20 minutes ago backstage, I could have managed some of the pre-performance nerves by sitting there and breathing and reminding myself how fabulous I am and anything else that I could have made up at that moment. And I could have sat there and I could have waited until I felt confident to come out and perform. And that would have been really awkward because you know what? I'd still be out there. The reality is that if we wait for our anxiety to dissipate, then chances are we will never perform. We need to be able to learn to perform through anxiety, not to wait for it to pass. So, whilst out there in the green room, taking a deep breath, I visualised myself stepping into a bubble. And sure, there were still distractions out there and the occasional odd negative thought going through my head, but the bubble gave me a protective space to prepare to come out and spend the time with you. The distractions that were there weren't anywhere near as strong as they had been before I stepped into the bubble. I've heard people describe being in a bubble as if it's a negative. The idea that to be in a bubble, you're too self-absorbed, too narcissistic in your thinking. And it does have that potential. The key to performing within a bubble and living within a bubble is making sure that you keep focus of what your purpose is, what the task is that you're doing, why you're doing it, and the important people that are around you. Performing in a bubble isn't about pretending that life doesn't exist. It's about making sure that you put your focus and your attention on the right thing in the right moment. So, competition, winning by perhaps the smallest margins, setting yourself goals, taking risks, and at times failing. It's all part of sport, and it's all part of life. So why would this matter? Well, it's not like we're all performing every day with the whole world watching. We don't get medals at the end of our day, and most of us probably don't start our morning off with a full bodysuit of lycra on. But the reality is, for all of us, for you, you've got goals. You have things that you want to achieve. You want to set risks, and there's going to be times in your life when you're going to feel vulnerable. What a bubble offers for you is an opportunity, a space, for you to protect yourself through that performance. It's a ready-made tool that you can use anywhere, anytime. It will give you clarity, it will give you focus, and it will give you the opportunity to maximise your success. You too can think like an elite athlete. To reinforce the concept of the bubble, I'd like to invite you to spend a little bit of time with some bubbles. So our volunteers are going to be handing out to each of you a little bottle of bubbles. I imagine the lights are going to come up. And if you'd like to join us in blowing some bubbles so you can think about your next performance.